Welcome back. Hope you had a good meditation. I trust that you did. Every meditation rearranges millions of neurons inside of our brain, sometimes so subtle it's imperceptible to our conscious mind, but sometimes quite perceptible to us. Change of perception and perspective. Anyway, we're talking this week about making a decision, getting off the fence about who we think we are and our place in the world. And um, a very significant spiritual moment for me, a fork in the road, was uh, in the year 2000. The millennium was a big year for me, but um, I was 43 years old, and I had been living in a particular life and lifestyle and career and behavior, and it hadn't been working for me for a long time. I seemed to have been a bundle of mental and emotional problems and difficulties, and I had been wrestling with those difficulties for many years, probably from when I was even before I was 20 years old, doing a lot of yoga and a lot of meditation and reading tons and tons of spiritual books, especially um, Eastern philosophy and Eastern mysticism. I was definitely drawn to that. Um, and yet, with all those years of prayer and yoga and meditation, at the age of 43, I found myself in a particular condition that my friends in recovery will recognize this statement. I found myself in pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. That's that's where my best spiritual thinking had gotten me, plus, a good deal of bad behavior and seven deadly sins, etc. But anyway, uh-oh, bye. He's heard my life story before. He's not interested. Anyway, so at age 43, I decided I went into recovery, and there was one phrase in the primary book of recovery scripture, and it said, it was talking about those of us who had lost our faith or had never had it, or were uh, had an uncertainty or a positive antipathy to the idea of God. And I definitely found myself in that camp because all my spiritual work had gotten me um, a very large dose of pure and perfect failure in my life. But the line said, when we became crushed by the circumstances of life, we had to fearlessly face the proposition that God either is or he isn't. God is everything or he's nothing. What was my choice to be, not what was somebody else's choice to be, or the consensus or the collective or the elite or the intellectual or this group or that group. What was my choice to be? And I'll tell you what, man, I really wrestled with it because all um, to my way of thinking, there was staggering evidence that God is not. And I'll tell you what, in this day and age, you flip on the news, you get on the news, you go on the interwebs for an hour and flip from this station to that station and this worldview and that politics and this ideology. You can pretty damn well convince yourself that God isn't based on the appearance of things. And yet, it's a decision that has to be made. Either the love and the power of God is real or it's not. There's no real middle ground. There's not a little bit of God. There's not a little bit of good and love and wisdom wrestling with an equivalent or possibly greater power of evil or random or ignorance or uncertainty or stupidity. It can't be a wrestling match between the two. And so, I did make a decision that the love and the power of God is true. And over the last 24 years, I have to exercise that every single day because my mortal mind is so easily swayed by the appearance of things, not only of my own ignorance and stupidity and evil and bad behavior and impatience and etc., but also what I see in the world and what I see in other people. But this week is about making that decision once and for all. The love and the power of God is true, and getting rid of the maybes of life. Maybe I will heal. maybe I'll leave my mark. Maybe my gifts and talents and God-given capacities will be revealed. Maybe I will triumph. Maybe I will realize my highest good in the world. No more. I will leave my mark. I will express my God-given talents. I will be strong and healthy and vital. I will be a radiant light in the world. I will achieve my highest goals and dreams that God love source planted inside of me when I was born. This is the truth, and I will not look elsewhere. I will turn my cheek from what's lower and always look at what's higher. And it's the mind that makes this decision. It's the mind, my mind, your mind, anyone's mind, that simply closes the door on the possibility of otherwise and says only the greatest good is true, that becomes available for these great and wonderful, vastly increased blessings. And so I invite you to make this decision. I know each and every one of us has, but we're never fully we're never fully immersed in that decision. We can always increase it every day. So enjoy your decision, and I'll see you tomorrow. We'll continue to talk about it.